Welcome to Vedanta Bhakti Pravataram channel. We are looking into Sri Sai Baba's satcharitra. Now we are looking into the chapter number 4. In this chapter, author is discussing about the Sai Baba's first advent in Shirdi. In the last chapter, he described the circumstances which led him to write Sai Satcharitra. Now, mission of the saints. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that whenever there is a decay of dharma and an ascendancy of unrighteousness, I manifest myself for the protection of the virtuous and the destruction of the vicious, and for the establishment of righteousness. I manifest myself age after age. This is the mission of the Lord, and the sages and saints who are his representatives and who appear at appropriate times and work in their own way to fulfill that mission. For instance, when the twice born, the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas and the Vaisyas neglect their duties, and when the Shudras try to observe the duties of other classes, when spiritual preceptors are not respected but humiliated, when nobody cares for religious instructions, when everybody thinks himself very learned, when people begin to partake of forbidden foods and intoxicating drinks, when under the cloak of religion people indulge in malpractices, when people belonging to different sects fight amongst themselves, when Brahmins fail to do sanjaya and adoration, and the Orthodox leave their religious practices, when yogis neglect their meditation, when people begin to think that wealth, progeny, wife are their sole concern, and thus turn away from the true path of salvation, then saints appear and try to set matters right by their words and action. They serve us a beacon lights and show us the path and the right way for us to follow. In this way, many saints, Nivritti, Jhanadev, Muktabai, Namadev, Gora, Gonai, Eknath, Tukaram, Narahari, Narsibhai, Sajan Kasai, Savata, Ramdas and various others did appear at various times to show the right path to the people, and so the present advent came as Shirdi Sai Baba of Shirdi. The banks of the river Godavari in the Ahmednagar district are very fortunate, for they gave birth and refused to many saints, prominent amongst them being Jhaneswar. Shirdi also falls in the Kopargam Taluka or the Ahmednagar district. After crossing the Godavari river at Kopargam, one gets on way to Shirdi. When you go to 3 course, you come to Nimgam, from where Shirdi is visible. Shirdi is as famous and well known as other holy places like Gangapur, Nrsimhavadi, Audambar on the banks of Krishna river. As the devotee Damoji flourished and blessed Mangal Deva as Samarth Ramdas Sajjangat, as Sri Narsimha Saraswati at Saraswati Vadi, so Sainath flourished at Shirdi and blessed it. Personality of Sai Baba. It is an account of Sri Sai Baba that Shirdi grew into importance. Let us see what sort of personage that Sai Baba was. He conquered his samsara, which is very difficult and hard to cross. Peace or mental calm was his ornament, and he was the respiratory of wisdom. He was the home of Vaishnava devotees, most generous amongst all, the quintessence of all essences. He had no love for perishable things and was always engrossed in self-realization, which was his sole concern. He felt no pleasure in things of his world, of the world beyond. His antarang was clear as mirror, and his speech always rained nectar. The rich of poor people were the same to him. He neither knew nor cared for honor or dishonor. He was the Lord of all beings. He spoke freely and mixed with all the people, watched the actings and dances of Naach girls, and heard ghazal songs. Still, he swerved not an inch from Samadhi. The name of Allah was always on his lips. While the world awoke, he slept, and while the world slept, he was vigilant. His inner self was a calm as the deep sea. His ashram could not be determined, nor his actions could be definitely determined. and though he sat in one place, he knew all the transactions of the world. His darbar was imposing. He told hundreds of stories daily. Still he swerved not an inch from his vow of silence. He always leaned against the wall in the masjid or walking morning, noon and evening towards Lendi and Chavadi. Still he at all times abided in the self. Though a siddha, he acted like a sadhaka. He was a meek, humble and egoless and pleased all. Such was Sai Baba, and as the soil of Shirdi was trodden by Sai Baba's feet, it attained extraordinary importance. As Dhyaneswar elevated Alandi, Eknath did to Paithan, so Sai Baba raised Shirdi. Blessed all the grass, leaves and stones of Shirdi, for they could kiss the holy feet of Sai Baba and take his dust on their head. Shirdi became to his devotees another Pandharpur, Jagannath, Dwaraka, Benares and Rameshwar, Badri, Kedar, Nashik, Triambakeswar, Ujjain and Mahakaleshwar or Mahabaleshwar Gokad. Contact of Sai Baba in Shirdi was like our study of Veda and Tantra. It quietened our sansar and rendered self-realization. The darshan of Sri Sai was yoga sadhana, and talk with him removed our sins. Shampooing his legs was our bath in Triveni Prayag, and drinking the holy water with feet destroyed our sins. To us, his commands are Vedas, and accepting his Vudi and Prasad was all purifying. He was our Shirdi, Sri Krishna and Sri Ram, who gave us solace. He was our Parabrahma. He was himself beyond the pair of Dvandavas, never dejected nor related. He was always engrossed in his self-existence, knowledge and bliss. Shirdi was Calcutta, North India, Gujarat, Dhaka and Konkan. Thus the fame of Sai Baba spread far and wide, and people from all parts came to take his darshan and he blessed. By mere darshan, minds of people, whether pure or impure, would become quiet at once. They got there the same unparalleled joy that devotees get at Pandharpur by seeing Vitthal Rukumai. This is not an exaggeration. Consider what a devotee says in this respect. Dictum of Gauli Baba. An old devotee by name Gauli Baba, aged 95 years, was a Varkari of Pandari. He stayed for 8 months at Pandharpur and for 4 months Ashada to Kartik on the banks of the Ganges. He had a donkey with him for carrying his luggage and a disciple as his companion. Every year he made his vari or trip to Pandharpur and came to Shirdi to Sai Baba, whom he loved most. He used to gaze at Sai Baba, saying, "This is Pandarnath Vitthal incarnate, the merciful Lord of the poor and helpless." The Gauli Baba was an old devotee of Vithoba and had made many of trip Pandari, and he testified that Sai Baba was real Pandarnath. Sai Baba was very fond of remembering and singing God's name. He always uttered Allah Malik, and his presence made others sing God's name continuously day and night for all 7 days of the week. This is called Nam Saptah. Once he asked Daskari Maharaj to do the Nam Saptah. He replied that he would do it, provided he was assured that Vitthal would appear at the end of the 7th day. Then Baba, placing his head on his chest, assured him that certainly Vitthal would appear, but for the devotee must be earnest and devout. The Dankapuri of the Dhakurnath, the Pandharpuri of Vitthal, the Dwaraka of Ranchod is here. One need not go far out to see Dwaraka. Will Vitthal come here from some outside place? Is he here? Only when the devotee is bursting with love and devotion, Vitthal will manifest himself here. After the Saptah was over, Vitthal did manifest himself in the following manner. Kaka Sahib Dikshit was the usual sitting in meditation after his bath. He saw Vitthal in vision. When he went on noon for Baba's darshan, Baba asked him point blank, "Did Vitthal Patil come? Did you see him? He is a very truant fellow. Catch him firmly. Otherwise he will escape if you are even a little inattentive." This happened in the morning, and in the afternoon there was another Vitthal darshan. A hawker came there for selling 25 or 30 pictures of Vithoba. This picture is exactly tailed in the figure that had appeared in Kaka Sahib's vision. On seeing this and remembering Baba's words, Kaka Sahib Dikshit was much surprised and delighted. He bought one picture of Vithoba and placed it in his shrine for worship. Bhagavantarao Ksirsagar's story. How fond was Baba for Vittal worship was illustrated in Bhagavantrao Ksheresagar story. The father of Bhagavantrao was a devotee of Vithoba and used to make his varies to Pandharpur. He also had an image of Vithoba at home, which he worshipped. After his death, the son stopped everything, the Vari, the worship and Shraddha ceremony, etc. When Bhagavantrao came to Shirdi, Baba, remembering his father, at once said, his father was my friend, so I dragged him here. He never offered Naivedya, and so he starved Vittal and me, so I brought him here. I shall remonstrate him now and set him to worship. Das Kandu's bath in Prayag. The Hindus think that a bath in the holy Tirth in Prayag, where the Ganga and Yamuna meet, is a very meritorious, and thousands of pilgrims go there periodically to have the sacred bath here. Once Das Gandu thought that he should go to Prayag for bath and came to Sai Baba to get his permission for doing so. Baba replied to him, it is not necessary to go so far. Our Prayag is here, believe me. Then, wonder of wonders, when Das Gandu was placed at to Baba's feet, outflowed streams of Ganga, Yamuna and water from the both toes of Baba. Seeing this miracle, Das Gandu was overwhelmed with feelings of love and adoration, and tears filled my eyes. Inwardly he felt inspired, and his face burst forth into a song in praise of Baba's and his Leelas. This is how Baba is looking into every devotee. So let us see the remaining part of this chapter in the next part. Thank you.